welcome to this episode of Behind the Panel. Very excited today. Have a very special guest. This is by far the biggest guest I've been able to get. I say we, like I have a production team behind the scenes, but it's really just me and my dog here. We have our Executive Vice President of the Pro AV Division, Mr. Dan Smith. Dan, welcome to Behind the Panel. Thanks for taking a few minutes on this Friday morning to join us.
Yeah, I appreciate being invited. Love the name.
Yeah,
Behind the Panel.
Yeah. It was, being somebody who's, in my past career at Stampede and here, I've really just been, back then we used to call them accessories. Actually, that'll lead me into one of my first topics is we used to call them accessories. And then when I came on board here, Sam had coined the phrase essentials. And I think you really can't come up with a better term for everything that makes your solution work. Outside of the display, outside of the projector, it's really kind of the guts of what it does, and that was kind of the iteration. What is your take on how important like our essentials are to our business and to the Pro AV world in general?
Well, aside from the literal translation of essentials, a lot of people think about the biggest pieces and the most expensive pieces as our point of focus. But really, a lot of the operations, functions, benefit, differences in features, differences in integration come from the essentials pieces of it. What type of soundbar are you using? What type of DSP are you using? What type of cabling are you going to use? How are you going to interface it? What are the other pieces that make up the entire solution? What kind of camera you use? What PTZ? Is there AI in the PTZ? Is there's so many other pieces that really make the function complete that there's, I think, often a predominant amount of the time is focused on the dollar amount instead of the function of the system.
Right. And like I represent the Legrand line. So having a vendor partner like that can kind of cross so many of the boxes off in those really kind of a benefit. I know Harman as well is another one that comes to mind, but really having those kind of all-in-one solutions that we can go to really kind of solve a lot of problems. It's really, I guess that would kind of lead. So you're about a year in here, right?
Yes, sir. I think it's 15 months.
15 months. So transition from the manufacturer side to the distributor world. How has that been for you? What are some differences that you see?
Well, my history includes distribution.
Okay.
So I've been in distribution for IT. I've been in distribution for AV. I've been an AV integrator. I have been an IT integrator. I have worked for Samsung, LG. I've worked for the manufacturing side. So the transition, I think, has been a bit predictable at this point in my career because I've had a chance to work through all of the route to market. Right. Manufacturer to distributor, from distributor to reseller. And as a reseller and even as a distributor, I worked a lot with the end users. So I think the functions within distribution become much more meaningful once you've seen the entire route to market and you see where the value add comes from and what the resellers really need. And really anything you say that the resellers need, you're ultimately saying it's what the end users need. So what do end users need and how do they make decisions and what's relevant to them and what new technologies might actually have an impact on how they use the technology, right? Because, a lot of times we end up with a cool technology, then we're looking for an application.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we have this neat function. What do we do with it? Who really cares? And does it add meaning to their business? And does it make it meaningful for them to maybe do an upgrade or a replacement?
To use like a Shark Tank term, does it solve a problem? Right? Does the new technology solve a problem or really scratch an itch that needs to be solved in there? How did you get in the Pro AV industry? I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Well, I have been a geek my whole life. As a little kid, I always loved electronics. I have loved music and audio my whole life. Mm-hmm. I built my first Heathkit receiver, 25 watt per channel AM FM receiver when I was 11. And it worked. It had a ground problem somewhere. It had a buzz I could never seem to fix. But I ended up getting my degree in electronics because I wanted to build high-end audio. Wow. I love music. I listen to music all the time, even at my desk when I'm working. I love the experience of music. And then I started getting into video. I wasn't much into video when it was a CRT 480 interlace. But as it became closer and closer to real life and photography and videography, ended up being so close to real life. And in some ways, videography and photography is better than real life because you can adjust the contrast, you can adjust
Right.
the lighting, you can bring out the detail, you can jack up saturation, you can, I feel like visually now the video part of it's becoming much more immersive, and I'm liking video as much. I went through certification classes. I'm IFC certified and so calibration certified. So anyway, that is how I got into the industry. Even to today, I still love music and the experience of music and really getting into video, the experience of video and photography.
So what's on the playlist at your desk right now? Are you a Spotify person, Pandora? What's your music of choice during the day?
I would think they would have, I think I have a split personality because I love almost every kind of music and my mood changes day to day. Sometimes, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and it may be an Enya, but then at the workout, it's going to be metal.
Right,
I'm going to be
right.
listening to metal while I'm working out. So it could be Enya, it could be classical guitar, it could be metal, it could be, it just depends on my mood. I think I'm pretty flexible.
I'm glad you brought up the working out, something that I admire very much. You talk a lot about it, how it fits into your daily routine. How important is that to you? And I can quote your phrase: "You work out for sanity, not vanity." I've actually
You remember that.
taken.
Good
Oh,
job.
absolutely. Hey, you steal good. You steal good lines when you have a chance, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was a response my wife said to me, "Why are you working out so much?" And I'm like, "Well, I work out for sanity, not vanity." I I am a much better person for me to be around and everybody else to be around if I can work out on a regular basis. There is,
Yeah.
for my personality and my physiology, mental and physical, there's no question that if I am active, it reduces stress, increases positive endorphins. I believe also exercising and having elderly parents that have passed away and elderly in-laws. I believe
Right.
oxygenation of the brain is really important.
Mhm.
As you exercise, you increase blood flow to the brain. As you exercise, you increase blood flow to all your organs. I think that just that increased blood flow is so important too. So between reducing stress, positive endorphin release, and increased blood flow to every part of your body, I feel like that it's.
Well,
But I
you,
like to eat too. So if people ever wonder, are you trying to be lean? It's like, no, no, I like to eat.
you hit on something very close to home to me when you talked about the oxygen to the brain. So when I was studying for CTS, when I came on board for Almo, I was determined to get it done in my first 6 months here. Um, we won't go into exactly how old I am. Let's say I'm in the 30 plus crowd. We'll take it down a few decades. But one of the things I found, I was taking a course that Avixa had, and one of the things that I found helped out is I went and just took a 20-minute walk around my neighborhood before I went and did the course, and I felt like it just kind of opened me up and really got me ready to learn, and I was much more focused, much more alert. I didn't find myself getting the 3 o'clock need for another cup of coffee. I felt like that was something that really was a positive impact, and I've now kept that up for a year and a half since I did that, in addition to my morning workout. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. You came in and replaced Sam Taylor. Sam, very well known in the industry. One of the things that struck me about Sam when I first met him, I had not really met him prior to me coming into Elmo, was just the positivity that Sam exudes. And when I first met you, I believe it or not, I'm a football fan. So I had played, I coached youth football for a long time, and always looked to try and find great coaching techniques and find things that I could learn from other people. But just whenever you start us off in a meeting, you always have a positive story to talk about for people. It's a great thing. What are some of your influences? Like, what are some of your leadership influences that you've had that have kind of steered you in a direction?
Well, I think if you look at the way I behave, I'm a accumulation of all the people I've worked with in the past. So I don't know if I can take credit to anything that I do today. I think it's been from observing and watching other people, picking out the pieces I like. There's been a few role models in my life that were negative role models. They taught me things I didn't want to do.
Right.
But the positive role models, we know Sam. Sam has definitely been a role model. I've known him for 20 years. Warren Chakin's a role model. We all know him, and he's been a role. He is one of the warmest, calmest leaders, Warren, that I've ever worked with. Sam is warm, calm, I think a lot of us knew Clark Brown as he's retired from the industry.
Hmm.
I tried to adopt a lot of things that he did. I have found people that are really good at marketing, people are really good at analytics, people that are really good at connecting with people. And I hope my journey isn't over yet from learning, because I try to learn from everybody around me. And you'll see sometimes I'll send out inspiration 360 emails.
Yeah.
I pick up inspiration from everybody. It could be right down the street, they're building a house, and there's a woman that's a framer, and she was up on the roof framing, and she was working 10-hour days. I mean, everywhere I look, I see inspiration. I drive by a bike trail when I come to my house, and every day there's this guy out there that's apparently been through an accident, has a walker. He is literally drenched in sweat using his walker every day. And I think I find inspiration not from people's achievement, but from people's effort and mentality.
Right.
Because I believe effort and mentality will take you as far as you can go. So let's not judge people on how far they've gone, but let's judge them on their effort and their mentality, because that we can control, right?
Right.
So anyway,
back in my early days, I was in the car business, and I had a boss that used to say, "There's two types of people. You're either unwilling or you're unable. If you're unable, I can teach you, I can help you learn. If you're unwilling, there's nothing I can do for you." So it's
yeah.
definitely having an open mind. And I find myself trying to learn something from somebody every day, in everyday life, just trying to pick up some habit that I can do to make myself a better father, a better husband, better dog owner. Apparently, I'm not doing so great there. She's
Pillow's in the wrong place. Now, look at that.
there she
Pillow right underneath
now
the
we're
chin.
all
That
set.
actually looks really comfortable.
Uh, you mentioned video, but for overall in the AV marketplace, any thoughts on where we're going? What might be next? What might be the next big thing? I know DVLED has been the next big thing for the last few years, and it's really, I think, exploding even more. But any thoughts that you have?
Wow, that opens it up for maybe 40 or 50 different types of responses. Let me see if I can back it up to the high level. As a geek, I see that the ability to get communication closer to reality, to face, meaning the video quality is improving, the audio quality is improving, the ability to isolate people for audio, beamforming microphones, ability to isolate people for video during a conference call,
Right.
the front row perspective. I think that, first of all, personalizing that technology experience and making it closer to reality, I personally feel an emotional impact from that already. So just being able, so in our company, as you know, we try to do everything on a video call. And the video calls are getting better and better, and it's getting closer and closer to the feel of being there in person.
Right.
So for me, I guess what I'm saying is the improvement in audios, the improvement in video is making this closer and closer to being in reality. The second factor is now it's getting to be that you can do that almost anywhere. I've started joining video calls from my cell phone, and the quality just keeps getting better and better.
Right.
And before it used to be, I'd just try to join an audio call on my cell phone, even 3-4 years ago. There's one microphone in the room. You can't hear what people are saying. You're maybe driving and you put on your noise canceling headphones just so you can try to hear the people in the room, to the point now where you can join a video call and you can hear if they have the modern technology, you can hear every person, you can see every person, you feel very connected. It's easy to communicate. So I think the progression of the technology is really helping it make it more personal and in any setting.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, 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 very neat perspective. Especially you mentioned the front row. Teams is just kind of blowing up all over the place. It's becoming the new norm. Really, it's like Kleenex. Everyone's using Teams these days.
Well, I loved the transition from 4:3 to 16:9. I equally like the 21:9 transition.
Yeah.
I think it feels, obviously, if you look at it from a scientific standpoint, it just feels more comfortable to look at.
We've had a few of the daylight fast fold 21:9 screens at some of the E4s that people have checked out with some of the projectors that project in that format. Just blows you away when you see it up close and really kind of in your face with it.
Yep.
Well, Dan, I appreciate you coming on. I do ask every guest this when they come on. I know you live in Florida, and you may or may not know this. I'm a lifelong professional wrestling fan. So my ultimate goal to get on behind the panel is Nature Boy Ric Flair. I don't know if you guys are neighbors at all. That maybe you could make a call to Ric Flair. to have him join me sometime and talk about the Four Horsemen and all the good stuff from the past. But it's I
I
ask
do not
everyone if
know
they
him.
know him. You don't
No,
know him.
I don't know him.
Well, hey, thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate it. Again, your schedule's so busy. Company's going in great directions, and really can't say thank you enough.
Well, thank you for being part of that.
Appreciate it.